How's it going, everyone? It is Prashawn here, and the dust has settled. The Golden Gauntlet is over. We do have a champion, Derek, and then I'll feature that deck in another video where we talk about it more in depth. I'll play some games, and hopefully I could do it justice myself. And overall, after the Golden Gauntlet, we do have somewhat of a meta change. Some people are trying out his deck. Some people are trying out Sizer's deck. Some people are trying out Butt's deck with the Pixie. So this tournament was a good thing for Marvel Snap because a lot of people got eyes on other decks that typically they don't play or they've never seen at all. Like, who would have thought Hulkling, Emperor Hulkling, was going to be almost a meta card, or people would actually put that in their decks? I thought that was a bad card when it first came out, right? So let's go over the top 8 decks. I'll have all the links below in the description from snap.fan. That way you can test them out for yourselves and let me know which one you think is the best, right? And then, did you guys watch the Golden Gauntlet? I did have my cousin's graduation, so I wasn't able to participate myself, but I did catch the end, and me and Glazer were able to talk out the final and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. So let's go right into it. We do have 4 Thanos decks making the top 8, and this is one of them, but this one's the most unique because it's featuring Loki. All the other ones I believe don't have Loki, but this one has Loki, Sam Wilson, Strange Supreme, Cassandra Nova, Cosmo, Mobius, Red Guardian, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, Wiccan, Mockingbird, and Thanos. So of course, most ongoing decks that are featuring Thanos have Sam Wilson, so that's no surprise. And then Cassandra Nova's in this deck basically to go against other Thanos decks, right? To steal that one energy, that way you have the one power, sorry, that way you have an advantage whenever they play cards on the board, right? For the long game. Of course, Cosmo's here to stop most of the stuff, and then stop stones on the other side too if they're trying to play on reveal things. Of course, we have Mobius. Mobius does hinder someone that's playing Thanos, or they're trying to play something that's discounted on their side. We do have Esme. We do have Surge that's in play too, just in case they're playing negative. I didn't see any negative at all in the top 8, obviously. And then we have Red Guardian here for some defense. It shuts off a lot of things. Shuts off on a lot of ongoing cards, right? And then we have Shang-Chi just here for some defense, Enchantress for all the ongoing, a Wiccan, that way you can step above the curve, play a little bit faster. We have Mockingbird here. A lot of people think Mockingbird and Strange Supreme are counterintuitive, but sometimes you could get them to go off together. And then just in case someone Red Guardians or Strange Supreme, you're going to have those stones out there, and you can play Mockingbird for the cheap. And of course, you have the big bad Thanos, and which can be counterintuitive sometimes with Strange Supreme, because if he eats that Power Stone, your Thanos can't be a big boy. He stays at 12. And yeah, this deck did pretty decent. I believe it made it was top 4 for the most part, which I thought was pretty cool. And yeah, I've been playing Loki. I do have a Loki video coming up too where I play a different build that's not featuring Thanos. But overall, solid deck. If you want to try it out, I would recommend it. If you're trying to climb or go into Conquest and get an infinity border, I think by all means, all these decks are viable. And next here we have Eggy's Thanos deck. This also made the top 8 cut. And we have Goliath, Dazzler, Sam Wilson, Cosmo, Mobius, Kyra, Super Scroll, Wiccan, Blue Marvel, Spectrum, Mockingbird, and Thanos. So a lot of ongoing going on here, of course. And then there's no 1-drops because you're playing Thanos and you're hoping that you play the stones and you can draw more cards. So, of course, that's how that goes. Super Scroll is an excellent addition as well because just in case they're playing ongoing, you could steal their ongoing as well, right? And Kyra, too, is very interesting. This is a card that's not played that often, but it is played in this deck. And I'm assuming you do want to protect your smaller cards. You want to protect all those stones. And that's why Kyra is in this deck. And plus, it's a target for Spectrum, which is pretty cool. And it also works well with Goliath. And we have Wiccan here. Wiccan just to play on curve. As always, you have those stones. But one thing I did notice during these matches is Reality Stone. So if you see someone play Reality Stone early, That means that they're trying to get that card draw. That way they can play the Wiccan. I did notice that a lot on in this tournament overall. And then, of course, there's Blue Marvel just to buff over your cards, Spectrum to buff them even more. And then there is Thanos. So, yeah, overall, pretty decent deck. Not surprising why this made the top 8 because it's pretty solid. Aggie is a pretty good player. All these guys are good players. So, yeah, another good Thanos deck. So we have this Thanos deck by Desmond. We have Sam Wilson, Shadow King, Strange Supreme, Gorgon, Cosmo, Mobius, Red Guardian, Super Scroll, Enchantress, Wiccan, Mockingbird, and Thanos. So most of these decks have most of the same cards. This one's unique. It has Gorgon because you're trying to slow down other Thanos decks or other decks that are creating cards. You have Super Scroll to copy things too. You have Mobius here to slow them down too, and that way they can't play their Thanos or their Mockingbird. So excellent. There's tons of Thanos decks that are hating on Thanos decks, right? It's like these Thanos decks are built to go against each other or counter each other. And then you have Enchantress here, you have Wiccan. This one's a little bit different. You don't have your Shang-Chi's, right? But you do have like a Shadow King to slow things down. And you have your Cosmo to protect your Strange Supreme just in case they're playing a Shang-Chi. Overall, another solid deck, another solid Thanos deck. So let's go into the last Thanos deck, and then we'll go into some of the spice that has been brought upon us. So let's go into this next Thanos deck. And we have another Thanos deck by Professor Lucci. Captain America Sam Wilson, Strange Supreme, Surge, Cosmo, Mobius, Red Guardian, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, Wiccan, Alioth, Mockingbird, and Thanos. So this deck has Surge. This one's unique too. It has Surge, so you're ramping up things, of course. But it is more of the same with Thanos. You have your Cosmo Red Guardian. You have like your Shang-Chi and Enchantress. You have your Wiccan. But this one seems like it's more on the defensive, right? Like you have this Alioth here too, just in case you have priority. You don't want them to do any crazy shenanigans on the final turn. And yeah, another Thanos. So honestly, like, what do you guys think about Thanos? Do you think Thanos is a big bad? Do you think it's a problem, Marvel Snap? I really don't think it's a problem. It's just that, like, it's just a solid list to play, and most of the newer cards, or almost every card, fits into a Thanos deck or a Thanos style of deck. Me personally, I want to see more high Evo. Like, I really like high Evo, but I feel like they nerfed it down to the ground because it was so good when it first came out. And then as a community, we've pretty much banned Airsham amongst ourselves, right? Or we don't play it at all. So yeah. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think. And then now we're gonna go into some other decks that aren't Thanos, which I think are pretty unique and fun to play as well. So let's get into them. So we have this deck by Owi here, which is pretty cool. I really love junk decks. So it's awesome to see a junk deck make it to top 8. We have Hood, Titania, Shadow King, Daredevil, Kate Bishop, Iron Patriot, Green Goblin, Debris, Viper, Enchantress, Misery, and Cannonball, which is pretty cool. It is typical, like your typical junk deck, right? Of course, you have the Hood, that's a target for Misery. You also have Debris, that's a target for Misery, just junking things around. You have Kate Bishop that could give you the Acid Arrow, that way you could clog up your opponent's lanes. You have Daredevil here. Typically, you might have like Magic in that spot, right? Instead of Daredevil, but you have Daredevil just to get some insight on what they're doing on turn 5. That way, you know what to play where, which I think is pretty good. Iron Patriot, just a solid 2-drop to play on curve. And then possibly you could get something that you could use in the future to help you out to win a game, right? And then Green Goblin, more Clog, and you have Viper here. You can either Viper your Hood over, or you could Viper over a rock to their side. And yeah, Enchantress is here just for some defense because there's tons of ongoing, especially with all these Thanos decks we just saw. And Cannonball just to bounce things around after the Clog. Hopefully you can turn their biggest card into a rock just to swing a location. So awesome deck to see here. No surprise that Owi himself is a good player, and I really love the junk style deck, especially against Thanos, because they're trying to play out those stones. If they don't get Strange Supreme out, they are in trouble. And if they play a Cosmo out early, you could just play around it, which I think is pretty cool. So awesome, awesome, awesome deck. And congratulations to Ali for making top 8. And next here we have some move by Sizer. I think he's like the king of move right now. This is probably one of his main decks. Anytime I see him on stream, he's playing like one iteration of this deck. Um, move to me is way above my mind, right? Like I don't like a calculate. I just play cards, honestly. I just play cards. Like sometimes I don't think, I just play, right? But this took a lot of thought. Even watching him play in the Gauntlet, it was a lot of thought into every play that he did. He thought each move out like 20 different times. You can see the numbers going. And this deck has Aranya, Ghost Spider, Human Torch, Iron Fist, Madam Web, Dagger, Toxin, Doctor Strange, Sage, Vulture, Frigga, and Beast. So a lot of the times he was trying to get his Human Torch pretty big, bouncing it around, bringing it back to his hand, copying it with Frigga. Same thing with Vulture, copying it with Frigga or copying Dagger. Like so many ways you could just get cards to go crazy, right? I think the only bad thing about this is sometimes just getting cards in the right lane. That way you could win a location. But or locations. I think Sizer had bad locations, especially at move, and it hindered him and cost him the match. But overall, awesome deck. Like especially with the bounce element with Beast, like you just bring back cards like Ghost Spider, Human Torch, Iron Fist back to your hand, and you could play them again and do the same combos over and over again. Especially with Toxin, with Beast for free, you could use Frigga, like I said before, to copy like a card like Human Torch, which is awesome. So very awesome deck by Sizer, and congratulations to him. And you can always check him out on Twitch. I'm pretty sure he's playing something like this or something close to it. Always, right? And now we're getting to the spice. This is a deck that if you showed me before, I would be like, there's no way this can make it to top 8. But Mr. Butt here got it there. Like, especially with Hulkling, I would have never have thought Emperor Hulkling would have been a competitive card at all. Or Uncle Ben. I would have never thought Uncle Ben would have been a competitive card, right? Like, but this works. You have Nico, Uncle Ben, Pixie, Sam Wilson, Surge, Killmonger, Mobius, Copycat, Enchantress, Legion, Emperor Hulkling, and Magneto. So especially with Pixie, you can do some high roll stuff and get your Emperor Hulkling and Magneto to 3 cost and play both of them on a final turn and just win. You have Mobius here to go against other decks that like to discount things, and then you could save your cards from being screwed over, right? Instead of having an Uncle Ben at 6 because it swapped with Magneto, like you keep it at 1, which is freaking awesome and gives you an advantage as long as it goes your way, right? You also have Surge, that way you could play above the curve just in case. You can always play Emperor Hulkling on 5 and then play Magneto on 6. And you have Enchantress here just in case. And then there's tons of ongoing, as we saw with all the Thanos decks. So these decks are going to have Enchantress. And then you have Copycat just to get some intel. And it's a good card to switch with another, right? If you have a 3 Enchantress or Legion, that's always good. And then you have Nico. I love Nico too. She's always a good Swiss Army knife. She could change something into a demon. She could change a location. She could buff herself. She could buff another card. Like whatever you need, she got you. So awesome deck. It's pretty weird seeing this being played on ladder now. It's like Pixie on 2. I'm like, what? Oh, that's Butt's deck. Very interesting. And then you have Legion just to change locations, just in case you're in a bind, or if they played like Magic or something, you could just change it. Like very, very good deck. I think I might give this a try. We'll see. Like RNG is never in my favor, but maybe we'll with this one. So let's go into the winner of the Golden Gauntlets deck. And here we go. This is the deck that won the Golden Gauntlet, the first ever Golden Gauntlet. We had Hood, Silver Sable, Bast, Rocket, Nico, Toxin, Falcon, Mysterio, Bishop, Hitmonkey, Beast, and Iron Man. So this is nothing new. This is something that's been around before, but I feel with Marvel Snap, there's times that everyone wants to play the new hotness, and they forget that some of the old stuff is still pretty good. And this was sneakily good all the way around. Especially like you're bouncing your Silver Sables, you're basting everything, you're having your Iron Man for surprise plays. Like this deck was able to avoid all the Cosmos from all the Thanos decks. Like you give away like you don't have priority because you could Falcon, you could Toxin, you could Beast. So you avoid the Shang-Chi's, you avoid the Shadow Kings, and you could just blitz them on the final turn, especially with cards like Beast, making cards basically free or like discounted or free. Like this was ridiculous. Like it was cool to see this actually win, and then now you're probably seeing this on ladder because it is still pretty good. I think the one with Agent Venom might be like a good choice to put in this deck. Two, I honestly don't know what to take out. Like maybe Nico, but you want to keep Nico? I don't know. I really don't know what to take out. Instead of like Agent Venom, maybe this is like the optimal deck. But yeah, this is very, very good. I'm going to have a deck highlight video on this soon, so be on the lookout for that. And what did you guys think about the tournament overall? Like, did you think Marvel Snap should do more of these? I think they should, especially with the community, with the creators. I think it's all good. I think it's good to have more eyes on the game, and then you learn about more of the good players, right? Like a lot of these people are like known maybe within small circles, but seeing them on the main stage where they get the shine that they deserve is awesome. So let me know down in the comments. What did you guys think? What decks are you going to play? What decks are you playing? Until next time, be safe, keep on snapping, and peace.